So the high school track runner, Veronica Garcia, has responded to those who were critical of this ridiculous performance. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Veronica Garcia, the transgender high school track runner who obliterated all the biological girls over the weekend at a track meet in Washington State. Now, before I go any further, I have nothing against anybody who is LGBT. If that's what you want to do, knock yourself out. That's your life to live. It's not mine. My only issue is when people infringe upon the rights of others, regardless of what they identify. You could be a straight person infringing upon a gay person's rights and vice versa. Just because somebody identifies as something that's different does not exclude them from criticism. It does not exclude them from consequence. You can't just do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it because you identify as transgender. Now, in this case, Veronica Garcia is, of course, a biological male, an XY male, who now identifies as female and was allowed to compete against girls in a high school track meet. Obviously, this is unfair. I don't care what kind of hormones you do. It doesn't really matter. Your skeletal structure is different. You don't have the limitations biologically that a woman has, like a cycle, like becoming pregnant, hormone imbalance. You don't have these things. You're physically bigger. You have higher lung capacity. You got more fast twitch muscles. These are biological facts. It's nothing about bigotry, nothing about hatred, nothing about nothing. This is just the reality. Now, before I go too far into it, I just want you to see just how crazy this whole thing is. I'm not going to have any sound on here. I'm going to just play it. You can see who Veronica is. I don't need to point this person out. You can see just how far ahead this guy, girl, whatever is. And it's not even really a lot of effort in this run. This is like a jog at the finish line. And the other girls are running their hardest. Now, I've covered this story on Instagram, on Facebook, just in the short video. But now I got to get into detail because there's a response from Veronica. Veronica says, hey, y'all get a life, y'all losers. There's also a news clip, but I want to ask you a question. Is this fair? Is it fair for a biological male to compete against biological females in sports? And you know what? Here's something else before I continue. I'm going to let it play a little bit. Here's something else. Female to male transgender people also exist. I met them in person. I've met, not him, but I've met them in person. I've met female to male transgender. But you never see them try to do what these kind of individuals are doing, which is compete in the sport with their newly assumed gender. You're not going to see a biological female try to run track against biological males. Why? Because there's no advantage. But you will see countless biological males like Veronica compete against the females because there's a biological advantage. It's very simple. Now, you see what it says right here. This is New York Post, okay? And of course, I'll link to that video you just saw and this article in the box. But look at this. Trans athlete tells critics to get a life after dominating girls' high school track and field state championship for second year straight. Now, some are going to say, well, look, ABL, it's not that many of these people. It's only a small percentage. It doesn't take that many to totally dominate a sport. It doesn't take that many, okay? Let me just kind of scroll through here, and you're able to see that is Veronica right there. Okay, so it says Veronica Garcia of East Valley won the Class 2A 400-meter dash at the Washington Track and Field Championship, state championships on Saturday. Okay, now look. When they were warming up for the race, a man near the starting blocks wore a shirt that read, "Save Women's Sports," as we should save women's sports, and yelled, "Let's go, girls," and "Girls Race," repeatedly, according to the outlet. And the opposing relay team from Tumwater was also seen wearing black T-shirts that read, "Keep women's sports female," before and after the race, as they should. As they should. Now, later, as the medal ceremony was underway, the crowd greeted every athlete with roaring cheers until Garcia took the podium and received a round of boos for a second year straight, as they should. And Garcia's response, I'll be honest, I kind of expected it, but it maybe didn't have their intended effect. It made me angry, but not angry as in I wanted to give up, but angry as in I'm going to push. So now you're just going to double down on dominating these women unfairly. And we continue. I'm going to put this in the most PG-13 way. I'm just going to say it's a dang shame they don't have anything else better to do. I hope they get a life, but oh well, it just shows who they are as people. He, she, they, them added. Now, for me, if I was a parent with children in this race, with girls in this race, I'd be infuriated. I'd be infuriated because it's not fair to my kid or anyone else when you have men competing against women, boys competing against girls. Listen, I don't care whatever you identify as. I don't care whatever you got going on in your mind. That's totally fine. Live your life. But let's be fair to people. Now, let's watch a news clip here. And of course, again, this will be in the box. Let's go ahead and roll it.
To California now, where a high school trans athlete at the center of a searing political storm went home a winner this weekend. CBS's Elise Preston has that story tonight from Burbank.
Jerika, protests surrounded that high school level competition before it even began. And in the end, a California junior who medaled in 3 events shared her success.
On the podium, 16-year-old Abby Hernandez was all smiles. She's the first known competitor at California's track and field state championship.
Oh, that's another one. So that's another one right there. So that individual, that's not even the same person. See, this is what I'm talking about. It didn't take that many of them. Out of all these girls that ran, let's say you have 20 girls in the meet. One of them is trans and dominates all the other 20. So although it's a small percentage, it is a very big impact.
To share first place in 2 events. The high school junior, a transgender girl, drew the ire of protesters.
I'm here to save my daughter's future because they're trying to set a precedent. They're trying to push us aside like they always do to women.
And President Trump, who posted on social media this week he would withhold federal funding for the state if Hernandez was allowed to compete. The organization governing high school athletics in California announced a new policy this week, expanding eligibility for athletes assigned female at birth, allowing more teens to play and medal in events in which trans girls compete.
She will share medals after placing first in the high jump and triple jump and second in the long jump.
This is still a high schooler. She is learning. She's navigating the world just like we are every.
Look, okay. Yes, this person is in high school and is still trying to learn. Okay, cool. But at the end of the day, there's certain rules that you got to follow. It don't matter how old you are. Okay, look, in Virginia, you could be tried as an adult if you committed a crime at the age of 14. So you're held accountable for your actions in high school to the point where you're able to go to the penitentiary and make big rocks or little rocks. So why wouldn't this high school person not be held accountable when it comes to a thing like, I don't know, competing against their actual gender in sports? Why wouldn't that happen?
Every single day.
And when they're not held accountable at this age, they are never held accountable and they feel like they can do whatever they want to do. The sense of entitlement here is off the charts.
That I know I would want grace if I was put in a situation where I had a bunch of light on me and what I was doing.
Hernandez addressed her critics directly in an interview earlier this month with the outlet Capital in Maine.
I'm still a child, you're an adult, and for you to act like a child shows how you are as a person.
Bro, you're not a child. You're not a child at all. Like, you got to stop infantilizing these people, man. Like, this guy's about 15, 16? It's not a child. A child, you're talking about someone that's like elementary, maybe early middle. You are a young person, but not a child. You're trying to infantilize yourself, and others are trying to infantilize you to give you excuses for your behavior, which is very unfair to your quote unquote peers.
And nothing I can do about people's actions, just focus on my own.
Now, the U.S. Department of Justice said it would investigate the federation and district that includes Hernandez's high school to determine if they violated federal law. At least 2 states are already facing off with the Trump administration in lawsuits over that very question.
All right, so there we go. Again, this person was not even the same one. This person was somebody different, but it's the same issue. You got the situation in, what was that, Washington State, Oregon, wherever that was, then in California, left coast in general, they're dealing with this nonsense. There's also an issue in Maine. It's all over the country. Now, look, as I close, I want to say this, again, to the folks in the back. If you want to be LGBTQ, LMNOP, whatever, hey, knock yourself out. That's your business, your prerogative, not mine. Live your life. I ain't gonna live it for you. I'm not gonna dictate how you live your life. But living your life does not include the right to infringe upon the rights of others. If we could just agree on that, I think we all be in a lot better place, not only in this nation, but in the entire world. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your opinion about this whole situation with the transgender people competing in sports against their assumed gender? Biological males, XY, big, tall, crazy, fast twitch, upper body, lung capacity, they're competing against girls. Is it fair? That's all that really matters. Is it fair? Yes or no? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. It's totally unfair. I don't see how anybody can say anything to the contrary. This is an open and shut situation. At least it should be. But obviously, in the minds of some people, that's not the case. Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that is all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.